Welcome to Let's Talk Nutrition. Thanks for tuning in. Glad I could show up.
You were here early, but yet
I was distracted.
Distracted, yeah. That's a good way to put it.
I was a bit distracted. Hope you're not distracted and you're doing well. Paul Schulick is on the menu for today. Always a good guest.
I like Paul.
Oh, he's a good guy.
He's very genuine.
Yeah, he is.
I mean, he's one of the most genuine people I've ever met.
Organic.
Yeah.
He's
organic? Yeah.
He's organic.
Down to earth.
He's down to earth, yes. And so much going on, as always. Boy, if you only knew the things I come across to report on or to talk about and consider for the show, and I have to, make these decisions about, what should we focus on, and I try to select those things that relate to everyday life that would be relevant for you, that might make a difference. Like being married. Does that help or hurt in terms of your health? We'll talk about that. Apparently, there's been a shift. I'll explain. And then being middle-aged. There's more than a few people that listen and watch this show coast to coast and globally that are middle-aged. 40s, 50s, in that area. 60s. And apparently there are some issues there. We'll take a look at that too. So being marriage and middle-aged. Marriage and middle age. All right, Eminem. Do you like Eminem, the singer?
I do.
I do too. What happened to him? I haven't lately. What's up with him? Nothing?
Low profile.
Is he gone?
No. He does some. You see some stuff every now and then on social media.
I liked Eminem as a rapper. I'm not into rap, but I liked him. You're surprised I know about Eminem?
No, I mean, he did come in here and tell the old PD about the new music. So
right. She didn't know. She didn't know who Grammatica is.
Grammatica, I think, was a kicker for the Bucks back in the day.
He was. Okay. Grammatica is a group, electronic. What's that category?
It's electric dance music.
But and she didn't know who he was, and she said, "How do you know who these people are?" I said, "Well, got to dial in."
Yep.
And that's what we would like you to do. Dial into this show. Get connected. Join the conversation. Maybe you have a thing or two to say about marriage and middle age.
877-897-8255. That's 877-897-8255. Follow us on Facebook at Let's Talk Nutrition. That's one word. And at Instagram at Let's Talk Nutrition. I Instagrammed you yesterday eating lunch. I don't know if you knew that or not. I have to grab you. I have to do your Instagram when you're not paying attention, so that way I can put them out.
Okay.
Because I put them out, as you're doing it, because it's very candid. I like to do stuff.
I'm on Instagram yesterday?
Yeah, I Instagrammed you yesterday.
All right. Am I there now? No.
I didn't do anything this morning, but yeah, yesterday.
Speaking of eating, yesterday I took Gary to downtown Tampa, and you hear me talk about plant-based diet, plant-based eating, and I notice a trend now in certain cities where restaurants are moving to that menu. And some portray themselves or market themselves as totally vegan. Others sort of a combination, healthy eating. There's different renditions here. So yesterday we drove to downtown Tampa, and we went to a place called Pharmacy, Farmacy. It's a vegan kitchen and bakery. And we went, and we had lunch there. And I met the owners, Charles Rump, Timothy Fedorko, and Michelle Stapleton, young people. And they're in a building called the Element, which are what are these, condos?
Yeah, it's a condo / office parking lot.
Combination. It's a tall building. At one point, I was going to move into one of the units. I changed my mind. It's right in downtown Tampa. So we went and had lunch there. I wanted to see, to try. And I'm reporting on this because there is a trend. Like if you go to certain cities, I can tell you, San Francisco, for example, the restaurant, the natural, vegan, healthy eating, or whatever, however you want to construe it or characterize it, all over the place. Tampa's coming along in that area. I noticed more, and I wanted to see for myself this particular restaurant. It was very good. I had a burger. That's the first burger I've had. I can't, but it wasn't meat. It was a plant-based burger, and it was good.
It was based on pea protein.
It was pea protein. It was good. It was very good.
It was.
I enjoyed it.
I was very impressed. When they cooked it, it smelled like meat. We actually said that.
Yeah, it smelled like meat, had the texture of meat, but it was all plant-based. So it's excellent. It's in downtown Tampa. If you ever come to Tampa, you might pay them a visit. It's called Pharmacy. They're in the Element. Everybody knows what the Element is. This tall, beautiful residential building. And I noticed in downtown Tampa, they're building places to live. I mean, apartments and whatnot all over the place. Tampa is really becoming more cosmopolitan than metropolitan. It's coming along. And one of these days when I do a show on plant-based eating, I may invite them in and have them talk about how they approach it from a restaurant perspective and what they're trying to do. It's tricky business. I mean, how do you get, let's face it, the majority of people in our country are meat eaters. And in fact, they eat meat with their meat. Yeah. And I'm going to have Gary tell you a story about that. A man who he was talking with, and that's all I'm going to say because I don't want to give it away. We'll save that for the next segment. Eating meat with their meat. I mean, that's how infiltrated that way of thinking about food is in our culture. And it's not healthy, obviously. Don't need me to tell you that. So to get people to open a restaurant that is plant-based, that's vegan, a vegan kitchen and bakery, all plant. No, there's no animal products in the place. And it's also a grocery store. Pretty clever. A trend. I notice a trend. So we're getting there. There's a lot of room for improvement, but we're making some headway. Healthier eating. We're trying, but we got a long way to go. Middle age and marriage. I'm going to talk about that when we come back a little bit, and I'm going to have Gary tell you the story about the man who said he eats meat with his meat. And you think, when Gary told me that, I looked at him, I said, bingo, sums it up. I eat meat with my meat. Congratulations.
I'm Joy McCarthy, holistic nutritionist, and I expect more from my multivitamin. I've researched many vitamins, and what's truly different about Every Woman's One Daily from New Chapter is that it's fermented with probiotics and whole foods and gentle even on an empty stomach. Every Woman's One Daily helps you feel good every day, giving you immune, energy, and stress support, and nutrients for bone and heart health. You will notice a difference. Every Woman's One Daily recently won the Best Multivitamin Award, and I love that it's non-GMO project verified. Discover the wisdom of nature with New Chapter.
Whether you spend your free time on a treadmill, under a car, or in your garden, if your active lifestyle leaves you sore, Body Vigor's Inflammaforce may be exactly what you need. Inflammaforce has a natural herb blend that acts as an anti-inflammatory to help maintain healthy joint and mobility support. There are standardized herbs like white willow, boswellia, turmeric, ginger, and devil's claw. The vegetarian capsule promotes easy digestion and a fast-acting dissolve process. Inflammaforce includes a proprietary enzyme herbal blend full of antioxidants and flavonoids that target pain and inflammation throughout the body. Body Vigor's Inflammaforce contains ingredients that support normal, healthy joint flexibility and function, builds healthy tissue, and helps with your recovery process. So if you're tired of sore joints and inflamed muscles, Body Vigor's Inflammaforce is your answer. Purchase Inflammaforce.
Middle age and marriage sort of go together, I guess. I have two stories to report about them to help make some bigger points. Before I do, I was talking with Gary yesterday, and he was telling me about a man he bumped into over the weekend, last weekend, who had what, cancer?
Had 4 different forms of cancer. He had intestinal, pancreatic, some type of adenoid cancer.
So he was having issues.
Yes, and
plus
he had diabetes. Plus he's had quadruple bypass.
Okay, so it's called morbidity, but comorbidity, suffering from more than one disease issue or condition. And what occasioned you to talk to the man?
What happened was I went out to Lacucci, Florida, and to look at some vintage cars.
Okay.
And I called up to the farmhouse, and he came down from the farmhouse, and we're sitting there talking. And I said, man, you look like you're moving rough. And then he told me what was going on with his health. And I said, you know what the first thing you need to do is stop eating meat. I said, that is killing you. And then drinking Mountain Dew. He goes, no. He goes, I eat meat with my meat. And
I eat meat with my meat.
His daughter came down, and she was with me, and we were talking, and she goes, I've tried. She goes, I buy salads. I buy vegetables. We have a garden here. I mean, they had a garden on property.
But his statement, I eat meat with my meat. That, when you said that to me, I said, you know, it sums it up. As sick as he is, and he's
sick.
He's not going to make it.
No.
You understand that, right?
No, and he doesn't want to change his diet.
Doesn't want to change. He won't change. Right?
Right.
Yeah, he in essence told you that.
Right. But the thing is that he knew that he was, and this is the discussion we've had a lot, that he knew that he was doing wrong
by eating that way.
And it was at the point where he just didn't
couldn't help. He couldn't help himself. He couldn't help himself. He couldn't change. He couldn't help himself.
No.
Why? Because he probably has been eating that way his whole life and started when he was a child.
Right.
And his relationship with food was dysfunctional from the beginning. And to get him to change, it would take divine intervention.
One of my dietary sins is Chinese food. And I've gone away from getting when we do order Chinese food, I've gone away from, I get noodles with vegetables now.
There you go. That's good.
Okay.
Stay away from the fried rice.
Right. But I do, and that's one of the things I get. And I mean, and Angela.
It's not too bad. I mean, vegetables with some noodles, that's not too bad.
And Angela's getting on the bandwagon too. And
good.
And we're changing.
You're willing to change. Okay.
And that's the thing. You have to be willing to change.
He's not. It's not. Even if he wanted to, he probably would have. It's almost. I hate to be so negative, but I'm realistic. It would be very difficult. The likelihood is very remote that he would be able to change, and he has no desire to change. I eat meat with my meat. Class. What a quote.
At what point do you burn a time out and you say, okay, I need to really think about my lifestyle and where I'm going with my life, though? I mean,
depends on what
40s, 30s, 20s.
It depends on what your priorities are. Is your health a priority? Do you care? Some people, you would think, you would assume that most people would, right?
Right.
At any age. And does he want to live longer? Absolutely. Does he want to be healthier? No doubt. However, this is like trying to take matches away from a pyromaniac.
Okay. Yesterday.
So, they go together.
Yesterday, the baker that we met was 24 years old.
Young woman.
24.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, here she is making a lifestyle change. She told us she was in college and she made a lifestyle change to start eating vegan, whole plant-based food. Wasn't very happy with the choices and options. Learned how to do it herself.
Right. And what Gary's talking about is Michelle Stapleton, one of the co-founders from Pharmacy, a vegan kitchen and bakery here in Tampa. We went there for lunch yesterday. I wanted to see. These are all young people that own it. 3 young people. And
then I meet a guy that's 45 years old, and what just blew my mind.
This guy was 45. Oh, and you were older than me. You were talking to him about me or something. You said something.
Yeah, I showed him the video of you doing push-ups, and I'm like, that man is 73 years old. He just went through this. He's gone through cancer too. He's gone through radiation. He's gone through chemo. He's in here doing push-ups and showing me how to do it. And he's 73 years old. You can change your life. You can live longer. I would have had a better chance of talking to the wall.
He didn't want to do it, huh? It's a shame. But, persuasion, I believe in persuasion. It's not a one-shot phenomenon. It takes many attempts to change people and to change oneself. Not easy. And one's food, man, oh man. You talk about, and they tell me food is not addictive. Really?
Oh.
Not my review of the literature. Food addiction is real. There's a man, 45 years old, and he is in so much trouble with his health. 3 or 4 different kinds of cancer. He's got diabetes. He's got these comorbidities. I mean, and he said, no, man, I'm not changing. I eat meat with my meat. Okay. There's people listening to this show. Health is like, if they could put it in a tabernacle, they would. I mean, that's how important it is to them. Man, oh man. Paul Schulick is my guest. We'll see if I can get to middle age and marriage. Not me. I've been there already.
The perfect complement to your beauty regimen? Try Form Essentials Zinnia. The finest of its kind, Zinnia offers twice as much biotin as other formulas, which has proven to unlock the vibrancy in even the dullest of hair, skin, and nails. Zinnia breaks through and rejuvenates cells internally, helping you achieve the allure of effortless beauty. Reviving your hair, skin, and nails has never been easier. This essential blend of biotin, alpha-lipoic, and hyaluronic acid, collagen, and vitamin C creates lasting enhancements to your natural good looks. Don't go on wondering. You're worth the results. This combination of ingredients can only be found in Zinnia. Pamper yourself with a proven bit of affordable luxury and start looking your best. Ask for Zinnia by name at your nearest vitamin retailer to begin your journey to restored nails, head-turning hair, and radiant skin today. For more information, visit formessentials.com.
When your alarm goes off, do you jump out of bed with excitement, or does it take multiple alarms, a few snooze buttons, or a morning caffeine fix to get you going? These habits and daily stress cause a vicious cycle in which sleep becomes increasingly elusive. In fact, 54% of Americans report struggles to fall or stay asleep. For a better night's rest, look no further than Solace, an all-natural dietary supplement that supports healthy sleep and relaxation, so you get the rest you need to wake up clear-eyed, alert, and ready for the day. Solace has given thousands a better night's rest and the power to take back their mornings while enjoying the day ahead of them. Solace is formulated with non-addictive, scientifically proven, all-natural ingredients that support sleep and relaxation, such as melatonin, tryptophan, and 5-HTP. For more information or to order Solace, visit takesolace.com. Solace, for healthy sleep naturally.
Welcome to Let's Talk Nutrition, wherever and however you may be listening or watching the show, and whatever you may be doing. A new study shows that middle-aged Americans in 2017, right now, are less healthy than previous generations. People in their 50s, they said, are facing more health issues than previous generations. And they connected it to the issue of Social Security. The study was entitled, I'm looking at it, I have it here in front of me, Health of Americans who must work longer to reach Social Security retirement age. If you were born after 1937, you have to claim you claim benefits. You're required now to claim benefits at an older age than those earlier birth cohorts. So let's think about this for a second. You got to wait longer to retire, but you're sick sooner. In fact, you're getting sick and your health is poor even before you're retiring. What does that mean? Well, that means that you're probably going to have to go on or apply for partial benefits or apply for disability if you're not able to work. What does that do? That puts more of a financial strain on the system. Medical system, Social Security. But that's a terrible fix to be in. Apparently, more people are facing that issue. In their 50s, not having good health, and they got a long way to go before retiring, another 15 or more years or so, in some cases. How do you do it? A Dr. Schulick, he's an author of the study, and he's an economist and demographer at the University of Michigan, said, quote, "We found that younger cohorts are facing more burdensome health issues, even as they have to wait until an older age to retire. So they will have to do so in poorer health," close quote. This is not good. A Dr. Chow was the first author on the paper, and she said, this is very problematic. And they collected the information over decades. Well, the information, the National Institute on Aging and the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention have been collecting data for decades on people and how they're aging, what is the state of their health at different periods of time. We have a database that is pretty robust and informative.
And they're updating it all the time.
Constantly.
So it's not like one of those, we do this study that lasts a couple months and then we move on.
No. And they've generally showed an upward trend in people, each generation getting stronger and healthier than the previous one. There's an irony here. When they saw that, they said, people are doing better, so we can push the time for Social Security and retirement later on because people are more healthy. At the time, that was the thinking, and they had the data to support that. Now they're coming back in and collecting data, and they're finding that people in their 50s, wait a second, we got to stop here at this red light. They're not so healthy. We already changed the laws. Now what, Sherlock? What are we going to do? And this is not an abstraction for people who are experiencing this. Because, they got to keep working. They can't work as much. Maybe they can't work at all. And they got to wait till retirement, so they got to apply for partial benefits or partial disability. It's hard to live on that. You can barely feed your pets with that check. And people are now, I mean, that's a tough spot. When I say your health is your wealth and your health is the wealth of those that care about and love you, I end the show every day that saying that. I mean it. It is your wealth in many different ways. And you have to, I keep saying this, and there's prevention and then there's preparation. And those are different concepts. Prevention is the act of stopping something from happening. Prevention. Preparation is a different concept where you're trying to get ready for something. I don't know. And you try to tell people that, and they say, well, what can I do about that? You know, I didn't want to get sick. Of course you didn't. And so what we're trying to do around here is make a little contribution in trying to raise awareness about that. And there are things within your span of influence that you can do so that you don't find yourself in that fix. Being in your 50s, midlife, not doing well with your health, and retirement is way down the road. You can hardly see it for, you know, like looking down a long highway, you can't see the end of it. And you say, how am I going to get there? I got to live. I got to pay my mortgage. I got to rent. I got to, family, this and that. Your health is your wealth, man. And your diet, you can do something about your diet. You can do something about your lifestyle. It's not easy. I know it's not easy. But this is a hell of a lot harder to do that. At the end of the day, you have to live that way. So it's either going to be, it's either going to be hard or a lot more difficult or harder yet. So, yes, it's hard to try and eat a healthy diet. Yes, it's hard to keep fit and keep after it and exercise and try to do better with getting better sleep and managing your stress. I get it. But you know what's harder yet? What if you have to do that and you're sick and can't work? And retirement's way off. This is a troubling piece of information now. People in their midlife not yesterday, not right now, are not doing as well as previous generations. Great implications. And then there's marriage. Well, story about marriage, I'll share that with you. My guest, Paul Schulick, is coming along. We'll chat with him. Great guest. Stay tuned. Learn something. Welcome back to Let's Talk Nutrition. Paul Schulick, founder of New Chapter, is my guest today. Paul's a regular guest on Let's Talk Nutrition. We enjoy having him on. I'm going to bring him on and fold him into my reporting on this story. I want to get his take on it. Paul, welcome back to Let's Talk Nutrition. It's great to have you on today.
Thank you, Michael. It's great to be on your show, as always.
Wow, we love having you here. Wanted to get your reaction to this story I'm reporting on. It's a story about a study where they took a look at being married. And as you know, I know you're familiar with the literature. Over the years, there have been numerous studies that showed a correlation between being married and living longer, better health, and so on. That correlation has endured for quite a while. Well, this study, that's a brand new study, comes along here now, and it found that the link between being married and being healthier has weakened for younger generations to the point, they said, that it may no longer exist once we account for the fact that healthier people are more likely to get married in the first place. This is interesting. They looked at short marriages, no more than 4 years, medium length marriages, 5 to 9, and then enduring marriages, 10 years or more. And although older generations, they discovered, improved health in marriage, that this particular relationship between marriage and health diminished over time, over generations. And Dr. Tuman said, for older generations, there may have been a greater lifestyle difference between being married and single people, favoring the health of married people, close quote. What Dr. Tuman meant was that, Paul, is that there have been cultural changes in that single people now have a more diverse life. They live with friends or parents. They're not as isolated. So being single is not like it once used to be, which is sort of ironic. Being single, people are more socially connected, hence they're getting the benefit from social interaction, from a social network. Kind of interesting. So, that correlation seems to be fading between marriage and living longer and better health. Your reaction?
I had many thoughts, as you might imagine. It's a remarkable, it's a remarkable story.
Tell us the thoughts that make you laugh. That's what I.
Well, I just the reason why I'm laughing is I just celebrated my 40th wedding anniversary.
Oh, congratulations! I just got a text message from She broke up with me in a text message, brother. Come on, man. That's the
sign of the times, ain't it?
Here I am laughing. I shouldn't have said this. Oh, it's out now.
Well, there's no question, Michael, that the laughing is the best. When somebody comes out with a study and says that laughing is not as good for your health as we once thought, then I'm really going to start laughing.
They don't even break up with you face to face, Paul. They break up in a text message, brother. What kind is that?
I don't know. I think. Oh, that's great. I think it's all the beauty is in the eye of the beholder, Michael. I think the relationship. My parents, God bless them, they had a sweet marriage, and I have no doubt that marriage benefited their health. I see so many marriages that are good, and I see some marriages that are not so good. And I think it all depends on the quality of the marriage. And I love what you said, or at least what was concluded, one of the pieces, is that we have adapted to be in our single relationship. When we're single, we've adapted to have other connections. But I don't think anybody would argue that we need relationships and we need closeness and we need probably, Michael, a little less of our cell phones and a little bit more of this talking and relating with each other. So
that's what I was. That was
an
my
amazing study.
That's my point. Now we got to the point where when you broke up with somebody, at least you had the decency to face them face to face. Say,
True.
listen, I don't think this is working out. I love you, but now they do it on a Sunday morning, early in the morning. They send you a text. I can't be with you anymore. You're too busy. That was the text I got. I'm too busy. Okay, I'm too busy. You're too busy to come over here and tell me in my face. You got to send me a text.
I love it.
I had to laugh. I had to laugh when I said, you know what? This is pretty rich. You can't make this up.
Yeah. What's beautiful to me is that in my relationship with my wife Barbie is that in the last couple of years we've been practicing this. I don't know if you've heard of Marshall Rosenberg and nonviolent communication, but I think all people can benefit in all of our relationships, which no doubt, since your focus and my focus is on health, there's no question that we need, whether it's in marriage or in single life, to make our relationship with others better. And what I have learned in the last couple of years, Michael, is that through nonviolent communication, there is a opportunity to get to know the other much more exquisitely than I had ever dreamed possible. So there's all of these incredible exercises to understand the other person. So,
yeah, Marshall wrote this. First of all, my PhD is in communication. My master's is in communication.
Sweet.
I don't know if you knew that or not.
I now am remembering. Yes.
So Marshall Rosenberg, Nonviolent Communication, a Language of Life. This is, people might misconstrue what he's meaning by. When we come back, I know you came here to talk about black seed and whatnot, but at the top of the hour, we're going to take care of a little bit of business here, but we got to just at least do a couple of minutes on what Marshall Rosenberg means by nonviolent communication.
Absolutely.
Let me just say this. Conflict is a part of life. And sometimes people try to resolve conflict in the abstract, right? They do it through mediated communication instead of face-to-face, right? And when you do it that way, through mediated communication, like a text or an email, you're not moderated by being face-to-face. And when you do that text or email, you tend to be more violent in your communication and trying to resolve the conflict. End up shaming and blaming the other person, indicting them. That can be like violent communication when you do that and say things that you otherwise wouldn't say if you had them in front of you face-to-face. Have courage, man. If you're going to break up with somebody, do it face-to-face. If you're trying to resolve a conflict, do it face-to-face.
Whether you spend your free time on a treadmill, under a car, or in your garden, if your active lifestyle leaves you sore, Body Vigor's Inflammaforce may be exactly what you need. Inflammaforce has a natural herb blend that acts as an anti-inflammatory to help maintain healthy joint and mobility support. There are standardized herbs like white willow, boswellia, turmeric, ginger, and devil's claw. The vegetarian capsule promotes easy digestion and a fast-acting dissolve process. Inflammaforce includes a proprietary enzyme herbal blend full of antioxidants and flavonoids that target pain and inflammation throughout the body. Body Vigor's Inflammaforce contains ingredients that support normal, healthy joint flexibility and function, builds healthy tissue, and helps with your recovery process. So if you're tired of sore joints and inflamed muscles, Body Vigor's Inflammaforce is your answer. Purchase Inflammaforce exclusively on Amazon.com.
every moment, each of us is trying to meet our needs in the best way we know how. Close quote. That's a quote from Marshall Rosenberg. Marshall Rosenberg, really the innovator, a creator of nonviolent communication. And my guest today, it's why I love having him on, brought it up in the last segment of the first hour, Paul Schulick. And it merits a couple of minutes of conversation because it does pertain to health. Our relationships with others, those relationships are inextricably connected to our wellness and our well-being. And this business of nonviolent communication was developed by Marshall Rosenberg to reframe how we express ourselves, how we listen to other people, how we resolve conflicts, not by text messages and emails, mediated communication. No, you resolve it by sitting in front of the person, by focusing on our consciousness and focusing on the other, being empathetic, being compassionate. Yeah, how about that? This is right in my wheelhouse. I spent my career at my PhDs in communication. My master's is in communication. And it's a simple paradigm, but it's an elegant paradigm. And again, that's why I love doing this show. You never know what bubbles up, that emergent quality. Paul, welcome back. Thank you. Oh, man. Thank you for introducing that concept of nonviolent communication. That's why I appreciate you so much. How did you get upon this? How did you bump into it?
At New Chapter, the company that I started, we have regular workshops helping us learn how to maximize our relationships with each other.
Wow.
And it's amazing, Michael, how often in business, I looked a number of years ago, I looked at the largest mistakes in business. And what's amazing was the mistakes weren't as much about a miscalculation, but it was more about the relationships that the CEOs had with the people that they were working with. That was the major reason why some of the biggest business failures occurred. And I saw this in our company, that it was hard to listen to somebody when they had a different point of view, and so often emotional states would get involved. And so you're an expert in communication, and you know that if you're not willing to really listen to what I have to say, you will ultimately, the relationship and the fruit that relationship is capable of creating will be significantly inhibited as a result. So we have seen in our company, the more we communicate, the more we listen to each other and try to get inside of another person's emotional experience rather than sending an email, it's absolutely amazing what happens in the relationship.
Do you ever?
That's so elegant and so wonderful that you said that. I can tell you, I've spent more than a few weeks, months, and years. I've even been on Madison Avenue with some of the biggest companies in the world doing workshops on communication, and keep saying to them, doing business is about relationships. It's about relating. And I have a bunch of bean counters in the room, right? Accountants. And they're thinking business is about the bottom line. And I'm trying to disabuse them of that. And these I can't mention the names of the companies because I would be violating confidentiality. And they brought me in to talk just what you just said, to try and teach these people it's not just about the money. It's about how we treat people, how we treat our customers, they would say, how we treat one another in the building, in the company. That's going to make a difference whether or not we succeed or fail. It was so hard to convince an accountant that relating is somehow going to make a difference in the bottom line, Paul.
Absolutely. And what's amazing is what you can learn when you actually stop the voice inside your head and just listen to somebody else. As soon as you start to really listen and stop the dialogue, it's incredible what you can learn.
Go ahead, Gary. I didn't mean to step on you, buddy.
Well, me and you have attended several seminars over the past year that we've been together, and I've attended some of them, and I've listened to people talk, and they didn't believe what they were talking about.
You didn't believe them, did you?
No,
Right, because technically they were saying the right things, but you didn't connect.
right.
And
when you have a conversation with somebody and you apologize, that's that next big step of apology, being able to apologize and just saying, hey, I'm sorry, it was wrong.
right.
And be able to feel that and understand that. And we've gone through that situation several times over the past month where it was just
see
like,
it. Yeah,
just
we
say
see
it.
it. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, Paul, people may think, well, it's a health talk show that has nothing to do with health. You know what I would say to that? It has everything to do with health and wellness and well-being. Because
I've listened, Michael, in the breaks on your show. A number of the ads are about sleeping better.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that the herbs or the supplements that are in there are probably doing some good work. But I guarantee it, and I've seen it in my own life, almost every single time, if I go to bed with a argument in my mind with you talked about marriage, if I go to bed I have a little argument in my mind with Barbie, I will not sleep well that night. It happens every single time.
An herb can't take care of that, can it?
I'm glad I'm not the only one.
No. And so the real truth here is that our health ultimately depends on our emotional and spiritual state. And if you don't link those together, you're missing an amazing opportunity.
When the other part of my life was music, and we used to, even as young kids and boys, and then teenagers, and when we got older, when we were able to go listen to other musicians, we could sneak into the clubs and listen to them. And in my whole career as a musician, we would go and listen to different musicians, and then you would find that, because you're trying to learn from them, and you would listen to somebody play, and technically they were magnificent. And then we would say to one another, you know what, but I don't believe them. Meaning that they didn't connect. I don't believe them. In other words, when they played, you didn't believe them. They didn't get inside of you. They didn't connect to you. Yeah, they knew the right notes. They were wizards, but you didn't believe them. That was an expression that we used. No, man, I don't believe them.
Michael? I believed you when I was in your studio and you played the drums on the desk. That was I believed.
You believed me, huh?
That was a peak. That was a peak experience for me. I absolutely loved that. If anybody, Michael, you could actually take a break every time you take a break, or every whatever you want to do. But it is a thrilling moment to hear you play the drums because there is such believability in that act. So I encourage you to do that more often.
I do it as much as I can. I drive people in the building crazy with that. I have them on my practice pad. But thank you for introducing the concept of nonviolent communication. It's a wonderful concept. Marshall Rosenberg, you can Google him. He was connected to Carl Rogers. Carl Rogers was part of that movement, that humanistic movement. Some sort of maligned him and said, he was a little too touchy-feely and this and that. Well, you know what? Sometimes it's okay to be a little touchy-feely and compassionate and warm and caring. How about that? Are you? One of my favorite guests and people is on the show today. My only regret is that can't get him on more frequently, and that I live so far from him, because I would find a way to spend more time with him if I could. And I'm referring to Paul Schulick. He's the founder of New Chapter, and you have to. One of the things I've learned over these many years and doing this show is the audience is very smart and perceptive. And they know when somebody is speaking truth to power and when that person is being genuine and sincere. And sometimes that makes more of a difference than in a bunch of initials behind their name or what expert that they may be. And that's why you can have confidence and believe in what Paul Schulick says to you about New Chapter as a company and the products that they make. And Paul's going to talk today a little bit about black seed. What a marvelous plant it is. Paul, welcome back. Where did you want to go with it? And then I'll let you go ahead and open it up and take it how you want to frame it, and I'll follow you.
Thank you, Michael. Black seed. It doesn't sound great, black seed, but it's probably one of the most, I'd have to say, top 3 or top 4 stories that I have studied in my adult life as an herbal aficionado. There is, just look at the history of it, and it is a stunning display. So black seed is a common name. Its Latin name, nobody's going to remember, but its Latin name is Nigella sativa. It is also known as black human seed. But what's most amazing, Michael, about this plant or this seed is when I started studying it, because I started hearing about the science that was starting to come in. It was like one week after another, there was another published study. So I said, wow, it's like 25 years ago, I wrote a book on ginger. It was a similar experience where I thought, well, okay, I knew that ginger was good for digestion, but I had no idea that it was going to have profound anti-inflammatory properties 25 years ago. So I said, well, what don't I know about black seed? And then all I had to do was click on the history of it, and oh my goodness, it was absolutely incredible. The father of medicine, Hippocrates, the guy that said that food be your medicine and medicine be your food, the same guy that said walking is your best medicine. Hippocrates virtually worshipped black seed.
No kidding.
Said it was like one of the ultimate medicines. Then you jump ahead another 500 years. I mean, we're not talking about 30 years ago or 50 years ago. You jump 500 years and you go to Greece and you find Dioscorides, another 500 years or 1,000 years. You go to a Persian polymath, a guy that knows just about everything. He writes a whole book on healing and says that black seed is the ultimate healer. So I said, as an herbal guy, this is absolutely amazing. And then I go into the National Library of Medicine, Michael, and I see an incredible amount of research on its ability to uplift consciousness. We talked at the beginning about the spirit and about how connection is so important. Here's an herb. If there's an herb that can alleviate this age of anxiety and stress that so many of us experience, if there's one herb that can cool us down, if there's one herb that has profound inflammation modulating effects, it would be black seed. So I just have fallen in love with this herb, and I am doing everything I can to spread the good word.
I was looking at, there are a number of different well-written articles on the history of Nigella sativa, and they were talking about how it's indigenous to the Mediterranean region, placed in Tutankhamun's tomb, and all the cultures that you alluded to in the Middle East, in Egypt and Iraq, Iran, Pakistan, and wherever. I mean, in Rome and in Greece, just amazing And it was found independently in different cultures. Is that right? Am I understanding that?
That's correct. And again, just that it passes on through thousands of years. But I've learned, Michael, someone who's listening to our show is going to say, okay, sounds great. It's been through thousands of years and there's lots of science, but what's in it for me? Okay, so do you have headaches? Do you feel indigestion? Have you been to your doctor and the doctor says your blood pressure is too high, or your blood sugar is too high, or your waist is too big, or maybe even might say, oh, you've got metabolic syndrome, and you say, well, what the heck is metabolic syndrome? Well, that happens to be a compilation of all of the above, where your waist is too big and your blood pressure is too high and your fasting blood glucose is too high. That's a symptom of living in the modern world. We're not exercising enough, we're not eating properly, you know that, and we're under more stress than our bodies can absorb. So that is where black seed, I call it the ancient solution for the 21st century. Because what it does is it brings all of those things into a greater state of balance.
Is it best in the form of an oil? I mean, is that its only?
Great question.
When we come back, maybe you can address that, because in the literature, as you well know, if you type in black seed, you'll get 1 million hits, black seed oil, and so on. When we come back, let's talk about that and what that really means. Dioscorides. Only you would know who Dioscorides, and he talked about Nigella sativa, as you said, for headaches, for congestion, for toothaches, for worms, intestinal worms, all sorts of maladies, right? This is thousands of years ago. These are the same issues that beset us today. There's a cue.
Women who are pregnant or planning to have a child have specific nutritional needs. Maintaining optimal nutritional intake is important for mother and baby. Body Vigor's Preferred Prenatal can help mother and baby receive the appropriate building blocks for growth, development, and healthy function. The Preferred Prenatal formula provides essential vitamins and minerals, along with added support ingredients such as folic acid and DHA. Preferred Prenatal also incorporates a bonus herbal blend to help the mom-to-be with the uncomfortable side effects of pregnancy, like nausea, vomiting, mood swings, and uterine health. Support a healthy pregnancy for you and your baby with Preferred Prenatal, exclusively on Amazon.com.
Nigella sativa, Latin name for black seed. Paul Schulick is my guest, and he's a master herbalist. And when you hear a master herbalist get excited about a particular herb, because that's what he's been dealing with herbs and working with herbs, studying herbs, analyzing them, using them in formulations for decades, four decades or more. And then to hear him excited, even at this point in time in his career, about black seed, there is a clue and a cue to pay attention. Paul, welcome back. So when you type in black seed on Google, for example, you get a lot of hits. They'll say black seed oil. And then what form should it be in if you use it in cooking or as a spice or in a supplement? Is it just in an oil form? What happens?
Great question, Michael. It is used or has been traditionally used as a spice in the whole form. And the whole seed, I ate dinner at the CEO of New Chapter's family, and his wife is from India, and she cooked with black seed for me, and it was spectacular, or one of the most wonderful meals I've had. It is only more a function of modern herbal medicine that we think that we isolate or just extract one part of the plant. So what we do is we capture or harness or utilize the full spectrum of the seed. We extract both the water-soluble portions of the seed and the fat-soluble portions of the seed. And then, Michael, we did studies on it, and we measured, for example, what does the water extract of the seed, how does it inhibit the most important switch for inflammation in the body? And what was amazing was the black seed water extract outperformed the oil extract of black seed. The oil extract absolutely had a significant inhibition. It was about 19% inhibition in a cell study. But the water extract had almost a 40% inhibition of NF-kappa beta, which is this master switch. And interestingly enough, the water extract was more powerful than turmeric in both the water and the oil extracts of turmeric.
Really?
So if inflammation is an issue that you are addressing, and of course you know as well as I do that inflammation is a healthy process of the body. The problem is when it goes haywire, you have an herb like black seed which is capable of addressing it. But we want to use the whole seed, not just the oil.
That's interesting. So at New Chapter, you formulated a product. What's the name of it? What form is it in? How much did you take, and so on?
It couldn't be simpler. We have a product called Golden Black Seed, which combines extracts, 3 different extracts of turmeric, a water extract, an oil extract, and a fermented material, and then we combine that with the water extract, of black seed and the oil extract of black seed, and the product is called Golden Black Seed. And all you have to do, as hard as this sounds, is take 1 capsule a day, and it will address some of the most important questions or challenges that we face today in the 21st century.
Man.
I know it sounds amazing.
No, I'm just sitting here thinking, my God, yeah. How do you get that out there into the world and tell people? Because I was just reporting on this study about middle-aged and how middle-aged people now are as compared to previous generations, among the most are the most unhealthy at middle age. And you know darn well that there's inflammation booming around all over the place, and people suffering from comorbidities and whatnot. when you say that it goes after NF kappa beta, that explain to the audience what that is, and that switching, it turns it off, right?
It inhibits it. It slows it down. We need, when you get hit in the head, you need inflammation to move blood flow to heal the area that's been bumped.
Yes.
However, most people don't realize, if I ask people, Michael, is inflammation good or bad? Almost everybody says it's bad.
Yeah, I know.
They don't understand that inflammation is absolutely essential to our quality of life. The problem is that it's like you said, and when we turn middle age and we keep eating God knows how much carbohydrate and refined sugars and refined fats, our body is on fire because it's not meant to consume that imbalance of compounds.
Mm-hmm.
So when you are experiencing that type of modern crisis, you have a master switch which is basically on all the time. And that switch is called NF kappa beta. Do you want to leave your lights on or your stove on all the time? And the answer is no. You leave your stove on all the time, and something's going to start to burn up. And in this case, it's you. So NF kappa beta is the switch that you want to cool down. You don't want to stop it, but you want to cool it down.
Mm-hmm.
And turmeric and black seed are two of nature's greatest allies for the condition that we are living in today.
And New Chapter put them together in a wonderful formulation by Paul, and it's called Golden Black Seed, sold in fine health stores throughout the United States. You're listening to Paul Schulick, and here's how to get in touch with him.
You can get him at 877-897-8255. That's 877-897-8255.
So it's just one capsule a day. Let me ask you this. Let's say somebody has arthritis, osteoarthritis, rheumatoid arthritis, and maybe some other inflammatory condition. Would they be better served to take more? Would more help, if you get my drift?
I do get it. What my experience has been as an herbal student for 40 years is that there is usually a sweet spot in terms of, and each person can have their own sweet spot in terms of how much they need of a particular herb.
Hold your thought. We come back. We'll save the rest for that last segment, that sweet spot. In tennis, in baseball, in whatever, in music, it's also in herbs.
Are your joints feeling out of date and stiff? Is that old sports injury flaring up? Is your body aching from the daily wear and tear at work? Body Vigor's Joint Ready keeps you at the ready for any joint pain that gets out of line. Unfortunately, as we age, joint pain becomes more common. Body Vigor's Joint Ready can help provide relief so you can continue to go about your day. Our formula contains sulfated forms of glucosamine and chondroitin. Studies show that these sulfated forms are more effective than regular glucosamine bound to hydrochloride. Joint Ready promotes a healthy inflammatory response, facilitates cartilage synthesis, and provides additional antioxidants. Keep your joints at the ready with Body Vigor's Joint Ready, exclusively on Amazon.com.
Yes, and here's the LTN health question of the day. Talking with Paul Schulick, founder of New Chapter and the master herbalist for many decades. Talking about black seed, okay? And it's known as in Latin, Nigella sativa. Here's the question. Turns out that it also called by other names. Black cumin, Nigella, and I think this is pronounced Kalonji. I think that's how you pronounce that. Here's the question. Is it also known as black caraway? Is that true or false? Is black seed or Nigella sativa also called black caraway? Is that true or false? Is it called black caraway or not? Another name. Right answer, you'll win a $25 supplement gift card. You can go to your favorite health store, then pick up some of New Chapter's wonderful product called Golden Black Seed. Here's the number to call.
877-897-8255. That's 877-897-8255.
Paul, welcome back. So the sweet spot, I asked, if you have osteoarthritis or some, and maybe you have comorbidities and you have more inflammation than you have sense, can you recommended dose is 1 capsule. You were mentioning the sweet spot, and everybody may have a different sweet spot in terms of how much. Please finish your thought.
So for me, I like to combine what is my internal sense or my intuition as well as what's in the science. And if I don't have somebody else's intuition, I would base the recommendation on the science. So in one of the published studies, Michael, that was 2 years ago on the combination of turmeric and black seed, it was recommended 900 milligrams of black seed and 1.5 grams of turmeric. And so when I formulated golden black seed, I followed that recipe right to the T. So when you take 1 capsule of golden black seed, you are getting the equivalent of what was in the study that showed all of those benefits that I discussed earlier.
Mm-hmm. Is it possible to, it's moderating the immune system from overbehaving. Is it possible to take too much and quiet it too much or calm it down too much?
I am certain that it is. There's always an element of too much. But what I saw in the research, again, there's over 500 studies that have been published on black seed, and I really have not found a study which said that people took too much. There was at a point where you would just not get as much benefit, or you would stop getting more benefit. But there's really no toxicity at levels that people would be adding to their diet.
So here's what I'm getting at. Let's say a person had cancer.
Yes.
And now, they're in a different stage of life, and they've been declared clear. And now they are dealing with some inflammation issue, and they're taking the product.
Yes.
Could they take too much and turn off that immune system so that it makes them more vulnerable for a recurrence of cancer? You see where I'm headed with that?
I got it. One of the most beautiful aspects in herbal medicine is the body. You're not bypassing other mechanisms which alert you that you are taking too much. And one of the most beautiful ways is the digestive system. If you take too much black seed, your stools would get loose, and you probably would get diarrhea.
I see.
Or you would have an upset stomach. That would tell you you're taking too much. But what's interesting is black seed has anti-proliferative effects. So it would also have very beneficial effects to anybody. All of us have abnormal cell growth, and this is an herb that I think has potential to support healthy growth.
Do you think it would contribute to apoptosis in the causing the death of cancer cells?
I think that there is. I believe that there is research that would suggest that black seed has beneficial effects at normal cell growth. So yes, I think it would support, but I think one would need to clearly I don't mean to sound too legal here, but one would definitely work with their physician.
Absolutely. No, you have to. You have to sound legal here because you know.
Yes.
I get it. Let's go to Palm Harbor, Florida. Irene, is black Nigella sativa black seed? Is it also called black caraway?
I would say false.
You would say false?
Yeah.
Why would you want to say that?
I'm probably making a mistake.
Yes, you are. But I'm going to give you the gift card anyway.
You're my friends.
We're here to learn. It's also called black caraway, right, Paul?
That's correct, Michael.
You have black caraway seeds. Don't they sometimes put those in and put that in bread and bakery goods and whatnot?
Yes, they did. That was all part of a major part of the cooking in the Middle East.
Mm-hmm. Irene, it is sometimes called black caraway, and that some people are very familiar with that, and they don't realize that we're talking about the same thing. But congratulations, and we wanted to give you that $25 gift card anyhow. Okay.
Okay. Thanks so much.
It's my pleasure. So, Paul, how are you doing, man? How's everything?
Life is good. I am a happy camper, Michael. It's really just wonderful to keep working on products and to hopefully bring the healing properties of the astaxanthin, the black seed, the grape seed, the turmeric, and all these amazing things, and to really take on make a better competition to the world of the pharmaceutical. I think there's always a place for the pharmaceutical, but the herbal deserves a much, much more important place. There's $425 billion in sales in the United States in pharmaceuticals. There's only $7 billion in herbs, and I think it should be 50-50.
Yeah, long before pharmaceutical companies, there were the herbalists.
That's right.
And there were those cultures in the Amazon rainforest and jungles who were using the plants, and then you had the scientists from the pharmacy companies going into the Amazon to learn from them so they could make drugs. Oh, you can't make it up.
Michael, how many people have died from an overdose of ginger in the last 5,000 years?
Thank you very much. Point well taken. Paul Schulick is Paul Turmeric. Paul Schulick is.
That's where I learned turmeric from, was him.
Paul Schulick is the only human I know that carries ginger in his pocket, raw ginger, and eats it during the day. I love him. Your health is your wealth. New chapter. Yeah, we love him too.
Are you suffering